I'm Amy Cherry. This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, here to wow ya.
Joe's 100% right.
That's Bunnell City Commissioner Vice Mayor John Rogers responding to comments that Flagler County Commissioner Joe Mullins made on WNZF, wherein he said all fighting over the Sheriff's Office Operations Center needs to stop and everyone needs to work together. Flagler County Commissioners voted unanimously to move the Sheriff's Office Operations Center out of the county seat and to Palm Coast, where service demands are increasing with growth. Bunnell commissioners condemn that move, and despite that, Rogers says it is time to move forward.
We just need to come together and have a meeting, get some clarity, bring everybody together. And that's what we need to do, and have a meeting with the county and discuss this. And no, I'm not opposed to them having an off Palm Coast.
Rogers says deputies deserve a new headquarters, but he remains hopeful that a second substation could be constructed in Bunnell.
This portion of Flagler's Morning News brought to you by the Daytona Beach International Airport, Delta Airlines nonstop to Atlanta, and starting in May, nonstop flights to New York City via American Airlines. Bunnell is seeing growth that's described as leaps and bounds.
That's Mayor Catherine Robinson's assessment.
We have Grand Reserve subdivision that is building houses leaps and bounds out off US 1. That development goes from US 1 all the way over to Moody Boulevard, and when they're fully built out, it's going to be 843 homes.
Robinson said that another complex is in the works on Dean Road. Insofar as commercial growth in Bunnell, Mayor Robinson said it's also flourishing. There are several business parks opening.
US 1 Business Park building is completed. Steel Rail Industrial Park, Palm Industrial Park is on 9th Street, and the Grand Reserve Center, and that's their community center.
Robinson said that Bunnell wants to have managed growth so that it doesn't get out of hand. Tomorrow, a commission advance. It's not what you think. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
At least one sheriff's deputy will be in each of Flagler County's public schools next year. The Flagler County School Board agreed to an $811,000 contract with the county. That's about 2.7% higher than last year, reflecting a pay increase. It's only about half the cost of complying with state law that requires a law enforcement officer or armed trained civilian in every school. Flagler has decided to forego the armed civilian option. The Flagler County Commission will likely pick up the difference in cost through a funding formula with the Sheriff's Office that mirrors last year's despite new budget pressures. Commissioner Dave Sullivan says the county will do its fair share, but not more than that. Also happening on the school level, it was revealed at a recent workshop that the Baker Act was declared for students who could have been self-harming 72 times last year. So far this year, there have been 56 instances. A Flagler County school bus is involved in a minor crash. Tony Magoo has the details.
At 9 yesterday morning, it was a close call for a Flagler County special needs bus at Rimfire and Rickenbacker Drives in Palm Coast. No one was reported injured in the accident, with 9 on board headed for Belterre Elementary. Because there were special needs children on board, as a precaution, a Flagler County Fire Rescue Unit was dispatched to the scene to check out the students. There were no injuries reported. Sheriff's Department spokesperson Brittany Kershaw said that there were no injuries to the drivers either. School administrators were at the scene of the accident. When something similar happened, the students would be transferred to another bus and taken to school after being checked out unless a parent requests to claim their child. The last school bus involved accident was last February when a pickup truck rear-ended a bus carrying 40 kids in Palm Coast. Except for one student who complained of some neck pain and was claimed by his parent, there were no injuries in that crash either. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Tony Magoo.
What's the impact of impact fees? WNZF's John Arking says a local lawmaker is answering that question.
Republican State Representative Paul Renner says that the fees, which are designed for infrastructure surrounding new development, aren't always spent on infrastructure. But he says they also have other effects.
There's two problems I see with impact fees. One is it's a one-time charge, and so 20 years later, after the development's been made, the roads, things start to break down as they do, and you need to have an ongoing, reserve to cover these issues, and this plays into many different areas. But the other issue is for the homeowner is, again, that cost has to be passed along to the homeowner, and so let's say it's a $15,000 impact fee, and I've got a 30-year mortgage. Well, that works out to a lot more than $15,000 over that 30 years. Maybe I'm paying 20, 25, 30 grand. So that gets passed along to the homeowner, and now we're talking about affordable housing. That house I could afford, but now can't afford because of that extra charge.
The full interview can be heard on the Free for All Friday podcast, available on WNZF.com. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm John Erking.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Amy Cherry.